the Wednesday, June 8th edition. Good to see everybody. And I do hope that you are having a great morning already. It is been a good morning for me. I am checking on my status on all the. I've got to change the name of this. I need to get more, because what it does is it has like Daily Devo June 22nd on the Facebook. So that is not the date. It is July the 8th already, man. It's pretty crazy. So yeah. All right. Let me see what's happening here. I know the chats are going on. Let's see. I think we got it. But yeah, there we are. Should be happening. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see me. But if you are, you can let me know. Good morning. There you go. It's good to see y'all. Good morning, Andrea. And I know that there's other folk that are on here as well today. And as the crowd slowly gathers on Wednesday, on Hump Day, right? So we were talking about Tuesdays yesterday and how Tuesday's kind of the forgotten day. But Tuesday was a pretty busy day for me because we have our staff meeting on Tuesdays. And it's also a day when I had other meetings and other things going on. And so it was a pretty busy day. But I will tell you this, folk. I have gone to the gym 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. And I've been doing my Weight Watchers. And Phyllis, my awesome friend and church member, Phyllis Green, brought cinnamon rolls to my house yesterday. And I had enough points to be able to eat half of a cinnamon roll. Based on my calculations, I kind of put everything in and figured out, like how many points it was going to be to eat that cinnamon roll. And I had enough points to eat it. I had done good all day, and I went to the gym and everything, and I ran and I lifted weights and did stuff and got all sweaty, and then came home and ate my cinnamon roll. So it was amazing. But I think that's why I like this Weight Watcher stuff. Honestly, the app that you have now that's gotten even cooler. They have like all these incentives that you can do where you get points, and then you can shop for stuff. you can buy things with your points. You can trade them in for other things. I mean, it's pretty cool. So anyway, anything to get people to engage and get people to lose weight, I think is a good thing. And so for those of you who have done Weight Watchers, those of you who have figured out how to do that and are using it, I'm on the green plan, which I was on the blue plan, which was pretty easy because I had tons of points and there were all these foods that were 0 points that I could just eat as much as I wanted. And I was doing pretty good, but I wasn't losing like a lot of weight. And so I've switched to the green plan. And the green plan, I mean, it counts everything. So like, on the other plan, I could eat fish, as much fish as I wanted, 0 points. I could eat chicken, 0 points, turkey, 0 points. I mean, all those kinds of things were all 0 points. Not so much with the green plan. So eggs were 0 points in the old thing. So I mean, this is a lot different. So it's been a bit more challenging, but I'm committed to try to figure this out and try to do this because I got to get this COVID under control, my COVID weight. I didn't do the COVID-19, like the freshman 15, you get the COVID-19. I didn't get that, but it did balloon up, man. So it was not great. So I'm not as bad as I thought I was going to be. I mean, when I weighed, it was not as grim as I once imagined that it would be, which I've been putting it off for a long time. But at any rate, yeah, so that's what's going on in my life. I'm doing that. Going to the gym is weird now. I mean, it's not as crowded, which is great. But you definitely have to make sure that you're taking care. You got to take care of yourself. I mean, even though they're doing a lot of cleaning, even though they're going through They have, they have like a constant checklist of cleaning and stuff that they're doing all the time. And they have a lot more cleaning materials available for you to clean yourself. And that's what I do. I've always been that way, though. Every time I went to the gym, I always wiped down thoroughly every machine before and after I used it, because I don't trust anybody to do that for me. I wipe down the bars. I wipe down everything. I'm like, I don't need your nasty stuff on me. I mean, even way before all this COVID stuff, that's what I did. I was always kind of down and handling my business that way. But now even more so, right? Now it's even more important. And you wear your mask. It's weird. You can wear your mask. You have to wear your mask when you're walking around. You have to wear it into the building. You have to wear it when you're walking around. But once you start working out, once you're starting to do your stuff in your place, then you can take it off or just lower it. I have a gaiter is what they call it. I just kind of pull it up and then I just lower it. But at any rate, there you go. So I've been doing that and trying to get back into it. So it was a Herculean effort yesterday to get there because I was just so tired. It'd been a long day. I've been meetings and meetings and more meetings and then meetings on top of that and phone calls and so forth and lots of work. So I was brain dead, but I really needed to do that. It helped me sleep. Actually, I had a pretty good night's sleep. So feeling good today. And my hair doesn't look bad. So my hair actually looks good today. My wife is wanting me to grow it out, man. She wants me to grow it out and back and stuff. So I'm just gonna let it go at this. I got it cut somewhere, like as soon as the barbershops opened. I think maybe a couple of weeks after they were opened, I went and got my hair cut. They couldn't trim my beard because I had to keep my mask on and all that stuff. But I haven't been back since. My stylist, the person who I've been working with, she left. She quit and moved to Colorado. And so I'm having to go to a new one. I haven't figured out who it's going to be. She gave me a recommendation, but we'll see. Anyway, enough about my boring life. So it's been quite a week already, man, as we have been looking out into the world and seeing all of the things that are going on, all of the stuff that's happening. It is sobering. Very sobering to see all of the cases of COVID that have increased, and they're saying this is the interesting thing. Okay, so it's funny. Every once in a while I'll float over to other news channels, right? I try not to just completely live in a vacuum of just the certain kind of news that I get. Although I do get a lot of news from a lot of different sources on my my notifications from my phone and other places. I subscribe to a bunch of different news channels that way. So I'm trying to get like a bigger picture of things where I'm not always just going to the same source. Unlike a lot of America, a lot of America is only, a certain strata of America only watches one news channel. So I'm just going to leave it at that. That's the only news channel they watch. And so thereby, they are controlled. And so I think it's important to branch out. So occasionally I will drift over to that news channel, which shall remain nameless. And I'll kind of take a gander at what they're talking about. The interesting thing is it's like an alternative America. I mean, every other news outlet can't be crazy, right? I mean, that's the picture that is being portrayed on that particular news channel, that every other source of news is twisted and is slanted. And therefore, you shouldn't even be watching or reading that, right? And so that's just kind of a scary proposition, man, that there's a whole bunch of people that that's their only source, man. That is it. And so anything else is fake news. Anything else is, just messed up. But there's a lot of scary stuff that's happening and that's being ignored by that particular news channel. So at any rate, so I went over there to check it out, and it's funny because the way that it was being reported in terms of like the number of cases that are happening and the number of mortalities, and it's like, oh, well, per capita, this is nothing, right, compared to Italy, right? Per capita, this is nothing. I mean, and it's just like don't, pay no attention to the man. And I'm like, man, I read yesterday, it was from the CDC and some other organizations were saying that basically if we could get to where 95% of Americans would just wear their freaking mask, that it would reduce the projected death rate by like 70,000 people by the end of the year. I mean, that's pretty crazy, and so, wear your damn mask. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, y'all. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but maybe somebody out there will tune in and watch this and, realize I doubt it. Because I'll probably become fake news to them too, right? Muppet News is my favorite. Yes. Yes, Muppet News. I miss the Muppet Show, man. What a great freaking show. I need to get all those. I need to figure out, like, I think you can watch them. There's some place you can watch them. You can watch all the old Muppet Show TV show episodes. Those were fantastic. And they had such great stars that would come on there and do that. I mean, when I was a kid, man, that was my favorite thing to watch. I loved that show. All right. So Warren is you're gonna get the mullet, man. It needs to be like the mullet comb over, right? Like it grows in the back and then I just kind of comb it over like the president. Because that's what that brother's doing, man. He's just like, it's grown all in the back. He's just like, like comes it forward to cover up the whole head, man. Man, it's so great. But of course, when a stiff wind hits you, all is revealed. But the Muppets would be fantastic right about now. That would be a great addition to our life, I think. Okay, so tonight is a big night. We're going to be having our conversation on race and racial injustice. Hopefully, y'all have been able to sign up for that. I am going to check real quick to just see kind of what our numbers, because we were looking at almost 50 people that had signed up, which is really fantastic, because that means that there's probably closer to 100 folks that are interested in it, because usually people will watch together. Okay, so we got 48. We got 48 people signed up. I think the magic number would be 50. I think would be a really good number for me. And so what I'm going to do with y'all today is I'm going to go ahead and post the Zoom link, okay, so that you can have that Zoom link and go back to it and make sure that you are able to get on tonight. There's no password, but you do have to wait in the waiting room, because that's what they are requiring now in the Zoom land. But if you guys are interested in doing this tonight, it's fantastic. There's going to be a conversation on Frederick Douglass's what July 4th means to the slave, and so that's going to be a pretty fantastic thing. So if you want to do that, let me just make sure that we've got a link to that, because I'm sure it's online. What is the 4th of July? Yeah, it's a speech that he made. What is the 4th of July? What to the slave is the 4th of July? So it's here in the Smithsonian website. So I'm going to go ahead and link that here too. So if you're interested in coming to the class, and it's really a discussion, it's going to be it'll be some presentation by Carlin Floyd, one of our awesome church members. And it'll also be a conversation. So we'll be able to have some discussion as well. So if you're interested in that, the links are right there in the Facebook feed. for not only the Zoom link, right? So you just use that. You can click on that and get right there. But you can also use that link there to access the speech by Frederick Douglass to take a look at that. And it's really kind of fascinating because, this was the conversation that was taking place over this past 4th of July. For the first time, I think that in my memory, right, it was a conversation that was taking place in the wider public sphere. It's not that it hasn't been going on for a very long time. Obviously, Frederick Douglass was thinking and writing about it all the way back then, right, in the 19th century. So this is a conversation that is relevant, and we've been having over the past week or so as we went through the July 4th holiday, and there were all kinds of conversations that were taking place. And it angered a lot of people, right? It made people uncomfortable, to realize that the celebration of our nation's independence, this patriotic holiday, was not necessarily one that was embraced by a lot of Americans, that a lot of people didn't fully embrace it. They might celebrate the holiday in terms of it being a holiday and the fact that you get off work, so to speak, and that there's barbecues and stuff and nonsense going on, fireworks and so forth. People might embrace it in that part of it, but in terms of the depth of it and what it means, then it means different things to a lot of people. And so that's going to be a great conversation to have. And so I'm excited about that. So that is happening tonight. And then later on this week, I think I'm going to try to join in on the discussion with the Narnia group. There's two things going on. The Inklings is what it's called. The Inklings were a group of writers that included C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, both of whom were friends. And in fact, it was Tolkien whose influence persuaded C.S. Lewis to take another look at Christianity, right? So one of the greatest apologists for Christianity was an atheist, really, like an agnostic, really didn't care all that much, didn't believe in God, so to speak, and was astonished to discover that his friend Tolkien did and was a fervent and devout Catholic. And so him and C.S. Lewis became friends, and there was a couple of other people that were part of that group that also happened to be Christians. And so they ended up kind of persuading C.S. Lewis to take another look at it, which he did. And then all of the work that C.S. Lewis put into his study, into his journey, eventually became things like Mere Christianity and oh man, it went out of my head. So a lot of the books that he wrote on Christianity and apologetics that he did came out of that. So it's really cool. We're doing this thing called the Inklings where that's happening on Thursday with the Chronicles of Narnia. And so if you're interested in that, you can probably find some information on it somewhere. All right. And then this coming Sunday is, of course, worship, and I'll be preaching, and there'll be things and stuff and happenings and all kinds of things. So it'll be a good day. So we're going to have a great week. It's going to be full of all kinds of cool stuff. Thank you all for being a part of it. I know that there's all kinds of groups that will be meeting and some cool things happening. I'm just going to say we're going to be sending out some information and publicizing something that our primetime group did. Our primetime group did this amazing project. I'm not going to just, I want to make sure that it's something that goes out and is coherent, and that we've got like some celebration, and we're going to be doing that soon. But our primetime group did some stinking amazing groups. So shout out to them for not only keeping a lot of our members that are homebound or in assisted living and other places, they've been keeping a lot of them connected, staying connected with one another, doing mission, doing great. So man, come on, y'all are killing it. It's just fantastic. It's a joy to be a pastor of a church that has so many amazing people doing so many amazing things. So thank you for all that you're doing. You'll hear more about that as well in our publications. Okay, so today I'm wearing another one of my Russian shirts that I got that are a little on the tight side, although I'm fitting in them a little bit better because I have lost some weight over the past week. Since I got back from vacation, I've shrunk a bit. But this is my shirt today. My shirt today is Rage Against the Machine. It's a Rage Against the Machine shirt. I look kind of buff, don't I? I'm looking kind of buff today. I think I need to wear compression shirts all the time. It makes me either I'm imagining it, right, or I might look bloated and gross, like one of those weird guys that wears compression shirts. But at any rate, it's very comfortable. So that's my shirt today, is Rage Against the Machine, which is a band, and it's not the kind of band that you would listen to with your kid. All right, so let me just say that. There's some songs that are they've got a lot of foul language. So very angry. I mean, they've been a band that's been activist for a very long time. The Zach De La Rocha, the lead singer, is been involved in activism in various forms. It's kind of radical activism in a lot of ways. And then Tom Morello, the guitar player, he's got his own side projects and his own stuff that he's working on. And he's also very politically connected and an activist as well. So there's a lot of, the funny thing is there's all these people that I know, that are super conservative, MAGA hat wearing dudes that love Rage Against the Machine. And they have no idea, really, they haven't dug into the lyrics. They haven't dug into the backgrounds of the songs. They haven't done any of that. And if they did, they would probably be appalled, it's like a subversive kind of thing. They're singing all these songs and, being, all angry and stuff. But they have no idea what the subversive sort of thing is going on underneath. So here's the question that I have for you guys. Rage Against the Machine does a cover song. That's one of their big cover songs that they do. They do it live. I mean, I think it's appeared on a couple of their recordings, but it's a live thing that they've done on numerous occasions. And then Tom Morello actually has done it with his side project. He has an acoustic side project that he does, and then he's done the song as well. It's a song that was done by Bruce Springsteen. I think it's been covered by a ton of other people. You need some Adidas tracksuit pants to go with the tight. I do, right? And I need a grill of some kind, and then some Russian neck tattoos. Then I could walk around and have a vague Russian accent. It's Soviet Union. Compression shirts compress everything, right? So anyway, so Rage Against the Machine. So the song that they do is a song that was done by Bruce Springsteen. It's covered by a bunch of people. It's called "The Ghost of Tom Joad." There you go, Andrea. Ghost of Tom Joad, right? So this is a two-parter, right? A two-parter. Because who is Tom Joad, right? Who is Tom Joad? That's the first question. So what book? So Tom Joad is a character, but what book is Tom Joad a character in? All right. And then there was a movie that was made of that book. And so I need to know who the star of the movie was that actually played that main character. Okay. So who was Tom Joad and who was the star? We hold the intervention when you get 10. There will be no neck tattoos, trust me. Steinbeck, yes, Steinbeck is the author of the book. Grapes of Wrath is the name of the book, and it was also the name of the movie. So who was the star of the movie? Man, you killed it. Henry Fonda, right? He has that speech and in the movie Grapes of Wrath, where he talks about, wherever there's somebody that's starving to death, somebody that's looking for work, somebody on the margins, I'll be there, right? And so Bruce Springsteen wrote a song called "The Ghost of Tom Joad," and I can't remember which album that was on. I don't even know if I have that album, but I can find out really quickly. Maybe some of y'all know that as well. I'm putting that into my iTunes because Ghost of Tom Joad has been recorded by a ton of people. So Rage Against the Machine, and then Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen, it was on. He had an album, The Ghost of Tom Joad. That was the name of the album. And there's so I'm looking at all the different. He's a huge Springsteen fan. Yeah, that I gotta say, like that album, I remember it now. Gosh, when did that come out? That was a while ago. 1996. See, I remember when I worked at Best Buy, I was a music manager I was a media manager for one of the Best Buy stores, and I remember when that came out. So I started working there then. But yeah, man, that was the big song off of that, The Ghost of Tom Joad. And so anyway, if you get a chance to listen to it, most of you would probably really enjoy the Springsteen version. The Rage Against the Machine version is a little more intense. I like that version. I mean, I love Springsteen's version, but I love that version too. And if you have a chance to check out the movie Grapes of Wrath, if you can stream that from something, it's a fantastic movie. Of course, the book, is amazing. Anything by Steinbeck is fantastic. And Of Mice and Men was one of my favorite books when I was like in high school. I remember reading that book and blowing my mind. And then there was a fantastic movie version of that was made with John Malkovich and Gary Sinise, and just incredible. I mean, just an incredible movie. So anyway, there you go. See, I somehow managed to take Rage Against the Machine and get to Henry Fonda. Yes. So that was a good one. All right. I'm enjoying it. So thank you guys. All right, cool. Let's get to the Daily Devo. Today's Daily Devo was called Disruptions. And I'm excited about tomorrow's Daily Devo because the title of tomorrow's Daily Devo is from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I had a T-shirt that had the quote on it. There's a light. So the tomorrow's is already written, but we got to do today's. So I'm going to talk a little bit about routine because I have a routine in the mornings that works for me, and if I don't stick to it, I find myself anxious, harried, and out of sorts. So most of the time when I get here, like I am able to put aside all of the stuff, right? And I'm able just to be here, but there are mornings where like getting here was like crazy town, right? I mean, it was just crazy town. So, being able to get here was the moment when I was able to go, oof, right? But if I don't have that routine, right, I've learned that I get really anxious. I start to get messed up. So if I get up at 5 a.m., give or take one snooze request to my Amazon device, which I'm not going to say her name because I have one here in the office, and every time I do that, then she starts doing stuff. So if I do that, like if I get coffee by 5:20 a.m., I drink 20 ounces of water mixed with the supplement, and then I sit at my computer by 5:40 a.m., I have a pretty good chance at that point of having a really productive morning. So today I was close. I think it was about 5:40 by the time I got to my desk this morning. So if I don't do that, then the wheels can come off pretty quickly, at least in my mind. I don't like disruptions because they get me off of my internal timetable and wrest control away from me. So you can kind of get a glimpse into my psyche because I like to be in control of things, which is kind of odd because being a pastor, like 99.9% of my life is completely out of my control. It's like God just keeps screwing with me, right? So more often than not, though, here's what happens, though. When I surrender to the moment, everything changes. When I make the conscious decision to let go of my timetable, especially when I know that it's done, like when it's over, Like there's no possibility that I'm going to get back to the things that I wanted to do. And my need for control needs to be surrendered at that point. Then I often discover new things that I would have never had the mindset to discover otherwise. I was listening to a podcast yesterday with a Christian author and speaker who was commenting on the various crises we are facing as a society. He used a term to describe what we're going through, a term that I've been thinking about ever since. He called it the Great Disruption. And I think that's exactly and succinctly what we are going through right now, is the Great Disruption. Linda says, bless your wife. Hey man, she's usually the reason why my day gets blown up. Because when she's in town, like I get all discombobulated, right? Like I don't want to do some of the things that I ordinarily do, like, because I want to I want to hang out with her more. But yeah, then she usually brings a whirlwind. So, but yeah, I do drive her crazy sometimes because I'm doing my thing, and if I get disrupted, sometimes I get cranky, and so she's learned to leave me alone in the morning for the most part. My dad has as well. So it's not hard to see why that term, the Great Disruption, fits so well, because everything has been disrupted. Every facet of our lives has had to change as a result of COVID-19. We've all seen the countless videos of virtual graduations, Zoom weddings, grandparents peering through windows at newborn grandchildren. The list of disruption is nearly endless. And then, as if we weren't being disrupted enough by the coronavirus, our country was thrown into turmoil and further disrupted as we all faced a serious confrontation with centuries of racial injustice in America. These disruptions have wrested control away from us without a doubt. They have taken us out of our comfort zones. But there is grace in the midst of all of this, and there's an opportunity for all of us to grow. Father Richard Rohr wrote about this very thing in his excellent book, Just This. And I'm going to post this into the comments. He says, most of us just repeat the same routines every day, and we're upset if there are any interruptions to our patterns. Yet God is invariably and mercifully in the interruptions, the discontinuities, the exceptions, the surprises, and seldom in the patterns. God has to literally catch us off guard. If you think about it, almost every major moment where God enters into history throughout the Bible is a moment of disruption, especially for the people who are being called to step forward into the new thing that God is doing. I mean, if you think about it, one of the things that it's super interesting that in a lot of cases, like when God appears, an angel appears, when Jesus appears after his resurrection, the thing that is said, and this is even in the Old Testament, right, is don't be afraid, don't fear, right? Calm down. It's going to be okay, right? This is always a disruption, right? When God enters into history, when God disrupts our lives. And so we are in a moment of great interruption, of discontinuity, exceptions, and disruption. Our routines are being remade and refashioned. But as much as it might pain us, there's also a moment of great growth and new life. So perhaps instead of trying to control it all, we should surrender to the truth of the moment and do our very best to be still enough to know that God is in the midst of it. Disruptions, listen, this is actually, when I wrote this down, I was like, okay, that's actually a thing. And this, I'm not quoting anybody except me. So I want to put this in here. Disruptions tell us more about who we are and what we believe than any routine we might have held dear. Come on now. I mean, that right there is some straight up wisdom. Okay, it didn't come from me. If it was pithy and quirky and snarky, that came from me. But the wisdom does, that comes from somewhere else. I got to tell you, those moments where you write something down like that and you realize how true it is, but you also realize that you knew it all along, right? That's something that we know all along. We all know this. The foundational sort of statement of that is, that whole character, that thing that we used to learn when we were young. Character is the thing that you do or how you act when nobody's looking, right? Well, disruptions tell us more about who we are and what we believe than any routine we might have held dear. And you can see that playing out over social media. You can see that playing out in the public sphere as all of these people who claimed at one point to believe one thing, as soon as the disruption happens, as soon as the disruption of COVID, as soon as the disruption of the racial injustice issues, all of a sudden the truth comes out, right? The truth of who they are, the truth of what they believe then comes out in the way that they react to it. So that's something that is completely and utterly true for each and every one of us. This disruption that we're in tells us more about who we are and what we believe than any routine that we might have held dear. Now we're discovering ourselves, right? We're discovering anew what it means to be us, to be human, and to be in community with one another, and to have faith and what that means, and what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus in a time of disruption. So all of this has really been an amazing opportunity for us to grow and for us to change and be transformed. And so may you find peace and stillness in the middle of the chaos around you. May you surrender your outcomes and your desire for control and discover new ways of knowing and being that are life-giving and hope-filled. And may the grace and peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you now and always. Amen. All right. So thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. I do hope that you have a wonderful day. I do hope that the rest of your week goes amazing as well. I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And we'll be here, throughout the week doing all kinds of fun stuff and amazingness. So I hope that you find a way to stay connected or to be connected. If you aren't already connected with our congregation, I invite you to do that. You don't have to live in Austin to be a part of our church. This is the new world we live in, people. You don't have to live in Austin to be a fully functioning and participating member of Shepherd of the Hills Presbyterian Church. You can live anywhere, right? Because we are online. That is who we are right now. We are an online church, and we are virtual, and we're going to be that way for quite some time, I have a feeling. But even afterwards, right, even after that happens, when we start to come back, and we will come back, we will meet in person one day again. It will not be the same. It will not be the same as what we once knew. It'll be different. But there's still going to be a ton of people that will decide to participate virtually, right? And there will be a ton of people that have started participating with us virtually that will continue to do that, even though they live far away. And that's going to be something that we want to invite. We want that to happen. This is the new frontier, right? This is the new mission field, so to speak. If you want to use an old, the old evangelical church that used to care about evangelism before it got co-opted by politics and so forth. That's the thing, right? There's a mission field out there of hurting people who are struggling, people who need a word of hope, people who may not realize that there's other ways to be Christian than angry and hate-filled and not doing what Jesus would do, right? So there's other ways to be Christian, right? And the way that we want to live into that is to love God and love everybody. And so we want to spread the word, man. You don't have to live here to be a part of this congregation. And so encourage your friends, man. Invite your friends. If you've got friends that don't attend church, even if they live far away, this is an easy thing to do. Let them know, this is my church. You can be a part of it. You can attend, you can participate. Who knows how that might change their life. So anyway, have a great day, guys. Be well, be blessed. I will see you back here tomorrow morning. And some of you I will see tonight at our Zoom conversation on racial injustice issues as we talked about Frederick Douglass and his speech. Have a great day, guys. We will see